let's get this thing rolling. I want to start off by welcoming everybody and thank you for joining us on our live Q&A community session. This week we're featuring Andrea Walker, who is Chief Creative Officer at Jameson Marketing. Andrea is also an administrator in the Elegant Themes user community and was the designer behind the Avalon child theme that was just released a couple weeks ago. She was also the designer behind one of Monterey Premier's projects that everybody said was their favorite Monterey Premier website to date. so I'm excited to have her here, and I'm excited to have Leslie here helping me do this thing. So thank you guys for joining us.
Woo! Yes, thank you everybody for coming.
Yeah. So I want to remind everybody that we do, encourage you guys to ask questions and converse in the chat group while we're talking. This session is being recorded by the amazingly talented and super efficient Chat-Thura, otherwise known as Chats, who's the man behind Divi theme tutorials and the group as well, the Facebook group that he runs. And so thank you, Chats, for putting this together, putting the team together, and allowing us this opportunity. So without further ado, Andrea, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been an honor to be asked to this great group.
Awesome. It's very exciting times. And let's start off by maybe telling us what part of this global community you're at and what it's like out there so others kind of get a feel for where you're from.
I currently live in Oklahoma City. I've been here for about 12 years. I actually moved here from Pittsburgh. I spent about 3 years in Pittsburgh, and before that, I was born and raised in Michigan. So I've kind of come all the way from the north, all the way down to the middle south of the United States, I guess you would say.
Cool. And family? Do you have family close by? Your immediate family?
Well, I live here with my husband and my 6-year-old. So that's my family here. I do have my mom is down here. She lives about 90 minutes north of me, and then the rest of my family resides in Michigan still. So I go up there quite a bit as well.
Awesome. Well, tell us, what are some of the favorite things you like to do for fun so we kind of get a feel for you and your personality?
Oh, well, fun lately has really been revolved around one, the Divi Community, design, and then my husband and I are also building a house right now. So it's been like our 12-year goal to make this happen. So really the fun we've been having lately is just picking out things for our house and then trying to make that happen. That's really been the last year of our life or so. It really takes a long time to build the house. And then also, I spend a lot of time at the pool with my 6-year-old. She loves to be there, and then we go to roller rinks quite a bit as well. So that is about all I do outside of the design community currently.
Sweet.
Now I'm just gonna picture you roller skating when I see you.
I actually grew up roller skating all the time, so. It's fun to pass that on to my child. Her name is Addison, so.
Oh, cute name.
Yes.
Addison, and she's on summer break now, huh?
She is on summer break. She is having the time of her life. She goes to day camp every day, and they go on more field trips than I ever got to go to as a child. She's currently playing at the splash pad, so it's a great place for her because it's 93 degrees here or something like that.
Oh, wow. Cool. Well, I want to take a moment just to remind if there's anybody that's signed in and listed, over here in the chat group, I want to make sure that they're able to hear us as well. Maybe Chats, if you can kind of keep an eye on anybody that joins us online that's not listed in the voice channel, maybe you can post in the chat group reminding them to on that. Cool. All right. So you talked about those things you do for fun, but what would you say are the things you're really passionate about? Things you really really love? What are some of those things you're passionate about?
Well, I would say probably what I'm most passionate about is first my family, and then two, building relationships. I've found through my job and through, the community that we have in the Divi Facebook groups, that really getting to know people and finding out where they are in life and how you can help them with their goals is really something that I'm very passionate about. I love taking the people's vision that they have for what they want their brand to be or what they want their website to look like, and really make that a reality for them. So that would probably be my main passion in life right now.
That's so cool. I had a taxi driver tell me one time a while back when I was telling him what I did. This was many years ago, and about web design and stuff. And his point was, man, it must feel really good to make people's dreams come true.
Aw.
And I thought that's pretty cool. I never really put it in
Yeah.
that perspective, right?
Yeah, it's just crazy what you can achieve through a website for a person. I mean, it will make or break their business in a sense, because if they don't have a great online presence, then there's not going to be very many new customers who come to whatever they're trying to promote. So it's a huge responsibility.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like even you, Leslie, you spent a lot of time helping out a lot of nonprofits and whatnot, and that must have been just a tremendous experience
Mhm.
seeing them be blessed as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. Giving back like that is always a cool thing to do, and if it's experience, at any side, it just adds to your skills, because you're always kind of building upon that. But yeah, it's great, especially to help those types of businesses have a presence online, because otherwise a lot of them wouldn't have one, or they build one themselves that normally don't look very good and don't help their cause or anything. So
Yeah, yeah. I would have to say that that's one of the my favorite parts of the job as well is when you actually nail what somebody didn't even know they wanted visually,
hmm.
but when they see it and they're just super excited and um, to be able to kind of help mold their vision. We have I kind of have like a tagline on my website. We breathe life into your vision. It's kind of like exciting, going through that process and nailing it. So for those of you that don't know, Andrea, you're the Chief Creative Officer for Jameson Management. But before we go there, would you mind sharing your past experience, some of the companies you've worked with in the past, kind of what got you to this point?
Sure. Well, I've been with Jameson for about 4 years. So before that, I actually worked for Hobby Lobby. And for those of you who are in the United States, I'm sure that you probably know what Hobby Lobby is. But
Yes,
basically,
I do.
it's basically a store that sells everything for your home, but it specializes in arts and crafts and patterns and designs. And so,
It's awesome.
yeah. What I did there was I basically was a project or a package and product designer. So I would they would give us art examples, and then we'd have to make patterns out of them. And then we'd have to do between 50 and 60 per product that we were given. And then those samples were given to the buyers, and then they were then placed on a product. So if you see picture frames that have little things all over them, like patterns or lampshades with patterns. Those are all made within house of Hobby Lobby. So there were
Oh, wow, that's cool.
it was a cool job, but it was also a very stressful job. There were 117 designers in that department, and so it was very competitive. But it was a great experience, and it taught me how to really design fast and design well. Um,
Wow.
And then before that, I actually worked for a newspaper. It was the Oklahoman. It was a daily newspaper. It's still a daily newspaper, but I did newspaper ads, and I actually specialized in car advertising. So I probably did about, I would say, 400 car ads in a 5-year time while I was there. And we also did small business advertising, but it was all print design. So that's really where I got my start, about 12 years ago. So those are the two bigger companies that I've worked for beyond Jameson.
Wow.
Yeah,
Impressive.
very impressive. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, both of those were for print design. My background is heavily in print. I actually didn't start web design until about 2 years ago.
Print is not.
Print, you can really, uh, if your background is in print, you can be surprised of what you can take into web design. I mean, with all the
Yeah.
technology and everything that can live inside websites now, it's really so much easier to actually go from print to web.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't really know that I would be able to design well at all without my sort of print graphic design background.
Yeah, I think it gives a lot more diversity to designs than you can kind of get really stuck into what everybody else is doing if you don't have that type of design background.
Hmm.
Yeah, totally, totally sweet. Well, that leads us to Jameson Marketing. Tell us a little bit about what Jameson Marketing is and what you do there.
Well, Jameson Management Marketing was actually started about 25 years ago, and it's actually a dental marketing and management company where we go into dental offices. There's about 30 advisors that go into the dental offices, and then 5 marketing advisors that we have as well. But we really specialize in creating a total brand for the dental office as well as streamlining their systems. So the coaches will go in for about 6 to 9 months before we even start marketing and really streamline everything that they're doing with inside of their dental facility. So they'll go through and make sure all their systems are in place, because a lot of times when dental offices are losing clientele, it's because their management practices aren't in place. So once we get all of those management practices in place, we then do their marketing for them. So it will usually be, we try to start from square one, where we'll do their logo and then their branding and all of their print material. And then we'll move on to websites and SEO after that. So it's really a total overall approach to their entire business and not just the marketing of their business. Now, some of the clients that come inside of Jameson do just do marketing with us, but we like to take the overall approach so that the entire practice is in place before we start with their marketing. So basically, what I do at Jameson is there is myself, and then I have another designer, and then 2 marketing advisors, and then an IT person, and then our then we do freelance for our developers as well. So I kind of manage that entire department along with one of my coworkers.
Cool.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. Pretty exciting. That's why I think you bring a whole new twist to this live Q&A. 'Cause I don't think we've ever had somebody in there that in here that's kind of worked with such a large team. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, and I think well, I know, well, like for instance myself, I have never worked with a real firm, I guess you would call it a real job.
Someone that has a real job. Yeah, I think you're on.
Yeah, benefits, girl.
You need to change out of
It's
your
a huge bunch
pajamas.
of people. It is.
Yeah. Okay. So you mentioned you just started getting into the web design field a couple years ago. Did you go right into WordPress, or when did you start using WordPress?
Here, let me answer Moore's question first. I actually don't get out of my pajamas every day more. We're actually all remote. We became remote about 2 years ago. So
Oh, wow.
30 or so advisors actually live throughout the entire United States. And then the creative team, besides the developers, they are in like most of them are in Oklahoma City, and then our other people, they're kind of throughout the United States as well. So we all work from home right now. So it is actually it's actually really a lot of fun.
Yeah, if I can chime in, I've got to converse with a couple of the uh, uh, team members at Jameson, and they are an amazing, fun group. You got a fun team there. I'm jealous.
Yeah, that's, man, I feel sad now. That's like I mean, gosh, can't get much better than that.
Right. But you do go in there once a week. You get to meet with them and work with them. They're in the office and stuff.
Oh yeah, the creative team, which there's 5 of us, so 2 marketing advisors and then myself and a designer. We meet every Monday to just really discuss everything and be able that we're together and we still have that community involvement with each other. So, but anyways, back to your question, Geno. I actually started web design about 2 years ago, and it was HTML sites. And I would do PSD mockups, and then I would hand them over to the developer, and then they would just develop all of the site pages based off my PSD mockups. So I did that for about 6 months and figured out that it was not working. Nothing was working. The sites didn't come out exactly how I wanted them to. They weren't responsive, and this is when responsive really came about. So about a year ago or a year and a half ago, I actually started to look for a new solution for Jameson, knowing that we needed to move our websites forward. So I researched and came upon the Divi group. And that is how I found Divi. And I figured out that it would be really easy for our clients to be able to edit their sites and go in and really make a better site for them. So I kind of hung out in the back end of the Divi group for about 3 months, just seeing what questions people asked and how they went about it and everything like that, and decided that this was the way that we needed to go. So since you've all been in the Divi group, you know that Geno has been extremely helpful. And so I contacted him one day and said, hey, told him about Jameson and said, I really need to work with a developer. And so that is how I kind of met Geno, and we have been on a team ever since for the past year or so.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you were going to share that, but yeah, actually, Andrea was my first white label client, and she's the one that encouraged me to jump into this new field. And I tell you, it's been a life changer in so many ways working with Andrea.
I'm never going to get right now. So just
Andrea.
Andrea. And yeah, it's
oh
just
my God, do not call me Andy. I cannot stand that name. I used to have a teacher that called me that all the time, and it just was on a chalkboard.
I will not call you Andy. Cool. Yeah, and so that's we've been working on what how many Divi sites would you say you've designed? And I know I'm not the only one who's developed the sites for you, but you've done what, close to like 50 Divi sites now, is in less than like this last year?
I would say that we're probably getting very close to that number. The way we do our sites is actually, the way a lot of people do their sites, where we have child themes and templates where some of our clients can go into if they're a lower budget client, and then we do custom designs as well. So I would say I've probably done about 30 custom sites in the last year and a half, and then the rest of them have been template designs. So I'm the lead designer on all of the custom sites, but I actually have another person who helps me with all the templates. So she will go in and she'll flow the content in and find all the pictures and everything like that. And she helps me as well with the custom designs, where I'll actually build out a PSD, and then we'll present it to a client. And then after the client signs off on that, I'll actually give it to Geno or another developer that I'm using to build out that front page concept. And then we'll take that front page concept and create the rest of the pages off of it. And then I'll have the other designer go in, flow in content, put in pictures, and then we'll give that test link back out to the client again.
There's a question, I don't want to lose it, real quick, if you don't mind answering. David asked, obviously you do child themes and this may be premature, but do you work with clients outside of Jameson?
David, I really only work with white label developers. Because I have such a strong relationship with Jameson, I don't often like to sell freelance work because I'm very involved with that company, and any clients that I would sell into my own work, I would probably put back into Jameson. If I do work on projects outside of Jameson, they're mostly white labeled, like child themes or people like developers who've already sold the sites and then come back to me and need a design. So I won't ever really sell my own projects, but I will work on white label clients for other developers.
That's cool. That's cool. I can totally appreciate that. And good question. Great answer. I also like how you explained the workflow. I think that's going to be a very helpful bit of advice for folks who are growing their own agencies. How you design it, and then you hand it off to the developer, comes back to you, then you pass it on over to the person who flows in the content, and then it comes back to you, and then the developer wraps it up and cleans it up and deploys it. Then your SEO guy comes in and makes all those adjustments as well. You really got a great workflow going on there.
Well, thank you. It's taken quite a bit to develop that workflow. I think the number one thing that I learned with working with contractors or anybody outside of the company that you're actually working with is that you have to be organized, else those companies aren't going to do a great job for you. And so what I've tried to do is really take what I've learned from freelancing and make sure that I am presenting our freelancers with the best project that they can receive. So I want to make sure that they have everything that they need before they start that project, so that they don't have to start the project and then stop it and then start and stop it, because one, that costs the company money, and two, it makes for very unhappy freelancers. So I always try to make sure everything's organized and ready to go before we ever start the development of any site.
Awesome. And what's your favorite project management tool for organizing all that stuff?
Well, we use Basecamp, and I actually only use Basecamp for my other developers that I work with and inside the design team. And then for project management inside of the company with the marketing advisor, we actually use Salesforce.
Salesforce, huh?
Yes, which is, wow, Salesforce is quite complex. It is a very complex tool, that is for sure.
Yeah.
We're actually building a portal for our clients with inside of Salesforce right now. So that should be a very interesting project coming up.
Huh. Do you think it's something that small freelancers or just starting small agency of 2 or 3 people could use, or might be too complex for? What do you think?
I'm not sure if the investment what the investment is to Salesforce. I know that it is an investment either monthly or yearly into Salesforce. So if you're kind of a smaller company, you'd have to have quite a few clients to offset that cost to really take make it make sense for your company. I think that smaller project management systems like Asana that Greg mentioned, or Basecamp or anything like that, is really better suited for the Divi community who just does website development, or the freelancer who just has, maybe 10 to 20 projects going on at a time, where in Salesforce we have thousands of records of people who we've contacted and has signed up for newsletters and everything like that. So it's two very, very different platforms, and you just have to figure out which one's best suited for the company that you have right now.
Wow, good info. Good info. Chris asks, how long does it take to create a website? Let's say a typical website, and how big is a typical website for you?
Oh, great question.
The dreaded question.
Well,
Typical.
we like to keep websites on a 3-month timeline. So that's for a custom website. So basically how it works would be we would get a client in, they would be assigned to a marketing advisor. That marketing advisor would then do a discovery call with them. And then after the discovery call, we actually do another kickoff call where if they have a custom website design, I'm actually on all those calls so that I get to hear the doctor's personality, see what they would like to do, and really figure out what they want to achieve by having this website. So after that kickoff call, we actually take 2 weeks to do design concepts. We then go back and present the design concepts. And then, after that design concept is approved, that design concept goes off to development, and then we start really creating the content for those inner pages. Now that's a little bit backwards compared to what you would do with other industries, but because we do so many dental websites, we basically know that there's going to be a service page and a contact us page. I mean, all of the structure is all the same. It's just the look and the feel of the website that is different. So an optimal thing would be for the website to only take 3 months. Now, I'm not saying that we do not have clients that have had a website with us for a year and a half, but that we basically have it down to a 3-month from kickoff call to launch a website.
I was just gonna ask, how, because I know as a freelancer, a lot of people can relate when they are waiting and waiting for something from the client. Is that something that's really happens a lot in a company like yours, or is it more you really stay on deadline?
Well, we don't let our clients write their own copy, really.
Oh, okay.
That is where you can really move a website along. So we give them a list of like services or features that they want on the website, and it's basically a checklist.
Oh.
And then we go back and we write that content for them, and then they can choose to add content or edit the content or take the content away, but we never put that full responsibility on the person.
Oh.
And I think that is probably what moves websites along the fastest, is because people really get hung up because they just don't know. I find the more personal the project is to you, the harder you are going to struggle with really giving the person back what they need. I mean, think of how we all had to create a site for ourselves to promote ourselves. That site will take you twice as long as a client site just because it's so personal for you, and you can't get out the message that you want to get out because it's just hard when it's you. And it's the same thing with your client. That's their business, that's their baby, and they don't want to mess it up. So it just makes them stall forever. So if you can get them the budget to have them for somebody else to interview them and have that person get content from them, then it will speed up the process dramatically.
Wow.
That is great information. Thank you for sharing that. That's I just everybody's rethinking
And
their
everybody's like
strategy.
silent. I'm like, it never occurred to me really to offer to write it.
Yeah, you would really be surprised. I mean, a person, these websites that we create, they have a lot of content to them, and the content is really inexpensive to get written if you really find a good content writer. I mean, for a 10-page site, you might spend $500 to $600, and that will just dramatically speed up your build.
Huh. That's interesting.
That is cool. So do you have an in-house or do you have like an agency that does that for you?
We actually have 2 content writers. They aren't in-house. They are also freelancers. We really like the freelance community.
Yeah, you guys have been
That's awesome that
very
y'all
generous.
embraced that.
Yeah, I mean, if you find really good freelancers, they can really become part of your team. You know, they invest in what you're doing as well, and it's helping their business.
Yeah.
We want to see other people's businesses grow. You know, it's hard to find good people and keep them, where if somebody has an investment inside of their business and they're trying to make their business grow, it's a lot easier for them to be good to you and invest in what you're doing as well.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going to be getting like 20 private messages from
I
all the
know.
web designers in the chat room after this.
We have
I'm
no
available. I'm available.
right now.
See, there we go. Do
Yeah,
the
there's a couple
content
of questions
writers work exclusively for Jameson, or can you share these fabulous people? Private.
You know,
We're all
I
thinking the
actually
same
don't
thing.
work with the content writers directly. I mean, I know their names and everything like that, but it's really the marketing advisors who work with them. And we just lost one of our content writers, so we're actually looking for another one. So if any of you know some content writers, that would be awesome as well.
Oh.
Yeah, no, that's
All
cool.
we need is their name.
Chris is asking, when you say content, what type of content you mean like paragraph text and photos, I'm guessing.
Yeah, the whole website. So we will do like a questionnaire for their bios, where they go through and answer a couple of questions, and then we'll write their bios for them. We'll write all of their content for their services and everything like that. But once again, I'm in a very specialized field, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel every single
Yeah.
website. Where with freelancing, your client's never ever the same. So trying to figure out how to do that is a little bit more difficult than what we have to accomplish every day. I would say the best way to accomplish that would be for you to develop a relationship with a content writer, and then for that content writer to really be able to interview the person that you're doing that website for, and then they can really dig in and get that message and figure out what they're trying to market, and then develop that message with that client.
Huh. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's great.
Well, we specialize in dental websites, but we have done, there's Fulkerson. So a lot of our other websites that we do are kind of like word of mouth or from family members or just ties that we have in the community. So we will do, I think we're doing an eye doctor next. So it's mostly dental, but we would take on really anything.
Hmm.
That's cool. Um, wow, I'm still
I know.
wrapping my mind around the content. Well, there's something that I think will also be super helpful to a lot of us in here. A lot of us like to design first in Divi and propose those to the client. Andrea, you take the approach of you listen and you present the design first. And so, what I think would be helpful to most of us and to a lot of the designers who will be listening to this is how do you approach the design, keeping Divi constraints in mind? What advice would you give to anybody, and how do you do that? Thanks, David.
Well, that was my first concern when I first started using Divi, is that I thought I was going to be constrained. I thought there was no way that I was going to be able to make custom websites for 30 to 40 clients every year using this one theme. And so the first website that I did by myself. And sorry, I was just reading one of the comments. I actually did a website by myself in Divi. And so I learned what it could do real fast, but I also learned that there was no way that I was going to code that website by myself. So that's when I figured out that I really needed a developer to code those websites because I didn't want to be constrained by what I knew in Divi, and I wanted to be able to do my PSD examples, to the other clients.
And so, would you say now that you're, for example, do you feel constrained still, or do you feel like you can do whatever, or do you still have to? Do you still try to keep certain things in mind?
Well, I always keep in mind the responsive features of a website. And then I always know, I know exactly how Divi works, but I also know we can pretty much take Divi and do whatever we want with it. So no, I don't feel constrained at all. I mean, a couple of these that I'm doing right now are just so beyond Divi, and we've been able to do everything that we possibly want with them. So it's been great. I mean, there's nothing you can't do with inside of that with some great development and a lot of design.
That's cool. So we talked about, a lot of times we get designer's block, like writer's block. It's like, okay, we've done so many sites, it's hard to still be creative. You've done almost 50 sites that are all dentists almost. How do you do it? Do you feel burnout? Do you get designer block sometimes? And if so, how do you deal with it?
Oh, I definitely have designer block. I've probably had designer block for about a week. But I think to overcome that, you just really have to figure out the person's personality. Go back to who they are, what are their goals, what are they trying to achieve, and what does in my case, what does their office look like? What does their brand look like? What type of community are they in? So it's really easy as a designer to design something that you want, but in order to be a good designer, you have to design what the client wants. And so if you go back and take basically what you want to see personally out of it and give them what they want it to be, then it's a lot easier to design. You really have to get over the emotional attachment you have to the designs that you're presenting.
That's a good one, and it's also what's the word? When you feel convicted. It's very convicting for somebody who's personally attached to every design I make. Spoken like a true professional. That's a good bit of advice, Andrea. David has a question. Do you feel niche is the best way to go? Niche?
um, I think you can find your niche in all kinds of different areas. So, it just might be small business or e-commerce. It doesn't have to be just one specialized area. It does sometimes get old developing the same type of websites all the time, but the only way I really get over that is because I have such a great team and I love the people that I work with, and we're really helping the dentist achieve what they want to achieve. But niches come in all different spectrums. It could be small business, it could be a nonprofit. So if you develop that system for those people, I think that you'll be a lot more successful in what you're trying to do than if you try to just go after everyone. I think you have to be focused on what your goals are and what you're trying to achieve and who the clients you are that you're trying to get. And that would be your niche. It doesn't have to be, a doctor or like little small business shops. It could be anything. You just have to find that area and then, yes, go after it.
Good stuff. Okay. I don't know anyone who would be in their right mind to reject one of your designs, but it happens, right?
Oh, yeah. This week, last week, all the time.
So, since you had such a great professional response on that last question, how do you deal with that, and how do you respond?
Well, once again, you have to take your personal, you have to put your personal preferences aside, and you have to look at it from what they want. This is their website. This is what they need. So you have to do what their vision is. And sometimes you have to go back and dial it in and say, okay, first of all, we always do a creative direction for our clients. So we set out what the goals are, what that goal looks like, what that website is going to look like for them. And then we always take them through that creative direction before we even present a design. That way they're not thinking, oh, this has to be the greatest thing in the world. This design has to be something that represents you and your business and what you're trying to achieve. So if the design is rejected, then we'll go back to that creative brief and say, okay, what did we miss on this? What can we do better? And then we'll go back and we'll redesign that. Now we try to really keep those designs to like 2 or 3 revisions and really dial in the person that we're working with to say, okay, this is what you want and this is going to work for you. So you have to develop that relationship with the client in order for them to see your vision. And that kind of takes trust and really working through it all so that they're heard.
Yeah. I got to experience that with you the other day on that call with the client, and it's so neat to see him feel like to express that it is what he wanted, and you were listening to him and the design, and that was fantastic seeing that in action.
Yeah, it becomes a very hard process. I mean, it's very easy to be like, oh, well, that doesn't work for you. Well, that's what it is. But that's not how it works. They have to look at that website every single day and they have to feel proud about it. So to get to that point where they are proud with the website and you're proud of what you produce is really, it's interesting to try to get there sometimes. And sometimes you just have a client where they are not going to like anything you present to them the first time, and that's just how it's going to be. So to overcome that, you just really have to develop that relationship, instill that trust, and then really try to move it along a little bit.
Yeah, once a client trusts you, it's so much. It's better all around.
Yeah, and that was actually the client that Geno was referring to on Tuesday, is that we had done another project for him and it didn't turn out well and he had lost that trust. But as soon as we instilled that in him again, he was fine with what we were doing. So it's just about going back and trying to figure out what they really want and then trying to achieve their vision and their goal for that site is.
Yeah.
Which, David, are you in the link that Geno gave to you all? I designed about probably 75 to 80% of those sites, and probably 80% of those logos, all the branding packages on the new site that Geno gave. And that site is actually a work in progress. It's, when you're working on your business, your site's always the last one to go. And
Yeah.
it's been about 9 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Let me click on that link.
Chris is asking, is the client right every time when it comes to changing things on web design?
No, but you have to have a good reason why they're not. And then one thing that I've learned is that if you present the client exactly what they want and then present them with what you think they should have, they will almost always come back and pick the one that you think they should have. But I really think that they need to see their vision come through on whatever you give them, but then you can give them something better as well. Now, I am able to do 2 concepts for every website that we do. So I always listen to the client and I try to do their vision on that on that first site. And then I go back to the second site and do whatever I want with it. So creatively, whatever I come up with is that second site that I give to that client, so that they always have the 2 options. So the vision that they have and the vision that I think would work well for them.
That's a great approach.
It is.
If someone has the time to do that, that's great.
Yeah.
I think that's where like PSD mockups come in handy, because it's so hard to go in and code something and
Yeah.
send it to a client, because you already have 20 or 30 hours into that site. Where, I mean, don't get me wrong, some of my PSD mockups, I have a lot of hours into them, but it's not, you're not so invested inside of that design, and you can come back and use it later.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
I like that. And I got to witness that on Tuesday as the client, right? Every time when it comes to changing things on the web design, that's exactly what they did on that conference call with the client. Is I got to see them in action, explain why certain things the dentist wanted to do just didn't make sense, and just listening, explaining to him. I thought that was excellent. You guys did a great job of that.
Yeah, they were interesting. We've had clients come back and say, can I not give you any content at all? And then you just build a shell. And I always say, sure. If you have 14 hours to go in and flow in content to your site, we'll be happy to turn those pages over to you. And that usually helps to get our point across of why we need content before we ever start a site.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, maybe you can elaborate on that too. The point you made about, having the content's going to depend on the picture image sizes we use and stuff like that, and how important content is to the design, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, to to really have a custom website, you need to size every single image into the module that you're putting it into. So a lot of times when I'll do responsive design, I'll resize those images down to how they will look on the mobile devices and how they're fitting into that space. So if I don't have content to achieve all that, then there's going to be holes throughout the website, where there was a whole lot of content and then nothing below it. I really want it to be a complete cohesive design where there's not anything that, looks like you put a whole bunch of content there and then had nothing to go along with it. So I want everything to all go together.
Hmm.
Cool. David has a question. He asked, how do you handle the white label infrastructure, mainly the communication with the client? Do you involve the person doing the work as a member of Jameson, or do you involve them at all? David has a lot of questions.
Well, David, the only time I'll really involve the developer, we also, the developer inside of the discussion is when the client has too many questions and I just can't answer them. But I really try to keep our developers and our white label people to doing their job. We have marketing advisors that answer the questions. The only time I really get on the phone with a client is when there is a problem, or if I want to get to know the client. We really have that marketing advisor do all the communication, so it comes through them, so that the people that we hire to do the job are doing the job that we hire them for, instead of having them communicate with the client. Not the whole team, it is a lot easier. I mean, as a freelancer, you're really in control of every aspect of your business. So you're doing sales and you're doing follow-up and you're doing emails and everything like that. And if you can get your business to a point where you can have different people doing that, it really streamlines the process. But I know it's a much different world when you're by yourself compared to when you're in with an entire team.
Yeah, yeah, it is. I'm very inspired though by this live Q&A. This is very exciting.
Well,
Okay.
No, I'm actually taking notes.
Or Geno, you get nice temperatures. That should be enough.
Right. Be happy with what you have.
Yeah, I guess. Okay. Chris has another question. When it comes to marketing channels, where do you feel safest and strongest when it comes to ROI, return on investment?
Well, Chris, I don't really do a whole lot of marketing for Jameson. It's really up to, there's a marketing team as well, and they're in charge of marketing our clients, to our clients and everything like that. But I would say the best return on your investment is going to be when you nurture the relationships you have with the people who already have done sites with you. So when you have referrals from other people, those are the ones that are going to sell the fastest because you've already built that relationship inside of another person. So
Yeah.
probably, it's referrals, it's building relationships inside of the community. It's really developing that trust.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. Some of my best, my most reliable work comes from those that I've been working with for about a year and a half now. It's great to get a project. You're done with it, you move on, the client's happy, maybe you do maintenance, something like that. But then I have those handful of clients that call me every month and they always want new stuff or changes. And it's not like a maintenance plan or retainer fee. It's by the hour. Hey, man, we like you. They just want to work. They just want to work with you, and that is a great return on investment.
Hmm. That's
All right. So you've together we put out Avalon, the child theme. You designed an amazing design, and if it's okay to share the inspiration behind that design, Andrea.
Yeah, actually, the inspiration from that design came from a rejected concept that I gave to a client. I presented it, and I was so proud about this design. I thought for sure they were going to love it, and we got on the call with them, and it was just straight face the entire call. I mean, he hated it. It was not his vision. That's when I go back to say, you have to do the client's vision and not what you personally want. And so I was honestly just destroyed after that call. And I sent it to Geno, and I was like, this site's never going to see the light of day. I spent so much time on this design. I thought it was so good. And then Geno said, well, let's make it a child theme. So that is how Avalon came about.
So
Yeah, I love that theme. It's beautiful.
Well, thank you.
it is. It absolutely is. So what's your take on the child themes now that you built your first? Was it too much trouble, or are you going to build more, or
I don't
Do you
know.
not want to build anymore with Geno?
I think that question goes back to Geno. I had the easy part. I gave him mock-ups, and it was up to him to make that baby work. So he really did a fantastic job on it. Geno actually did a lot of design on that too. I mean, don't let him fool you. He can design. He designs very well. I mean, when he is given something, he can really say, okay, well, how about this? And I think a lot of my design elements went into that theme, but Geno just made them a little bit better. Took things that were going to work inside the theme and changed them and really made it so that it would work for everybody. Where I just don't have that background. Everything that I do is so custom that I think that we can do anything, and we needed to build something solid that everybody could install in 3 minutes, and then go back and do whatever they wanted with it. So that, I had the easy part of that theme. Geno really took it and made it what it was today.
thanks, Andrea. Yeah, it was. I'm ready to do more. So if it comes back around to me, I'm like, give me another one. I'll take any of your designs and be proud to put it together and package it up.
Yeah, definitely. After we get through this busy season, I'll probably go back and do more. I have a few websites going right now.
Yeah, I do too. uh, I like David's comment. He said, I speak for the Divi community when I say this. I sure hope you have more clients dump your work. Yeah. Chris asked how sales are going with Avalon. Is it a good niche for designers, freelancers these days? Um, as far as sales are going, they're going pretty good. I couldn't be more pleased with how they're going. As far as is it a good niche for designer freelancers these days? You mean child themes, or maybe you can elaborate on that question, Chris? Um, child themes. Um, well, Leslie, you want to chime in on that one?
Well, for me, I just started putting out child themes, I guess a few months ago, and they're not, I don't have like a regular schedule to make sure I have one out or anything. It's okay. I'm sure I'd like more sales. I think part of the problem that I think I'm seeing is that I don't think everyone sees the full benefit of them yet. They only see the price tag first, and I don't know how much better to. I know Geno's commented a lot of times in the groups of how other ways you can get your money back. There are obviously multiple use on different sites. Right now, I'm doing a nonprofit, and I get to take a lot to cut so much time off with a child theme. So yeah, I'm not making money off of it. I'm doing it for the local food policy council, but it's still something that's going to be out there. I can get to network through it. Who knows what may come of it? But without the child theme, I don't know that I would have been able to say yes to do it for pro bono. But there's just a lot of ways that you can make use of them instead of just. I think people just think, oh, it doesn't fit that one site I'm doing right now. I don't really want to part with $100 or. I think there's a bigger picture that maybe people aren't quite getting of it. So I think they could be more popular for sure.
Yeah, I would chime in and say I think it's still realistic in all reality, still in its infancy stages.
Yeah.
The whole child theme market, people are starting to catch on. I think what we're looking at is there's two markets for child themes. There's the individual who wants to use it for their site, and then there's the developer who wants to have a few of these to use on their projects. And
Yeah.
what I'm seeing is that the person who wants to use a child theme for their own project, for their one site, they don't know code. And so they need all the features and settings to be adjusted within the Divi settings. And so they can change it and move things around. On the other hand, you got the designers and developers who are using these to crank out projects. They need all the code to be in one place. They don't have time. They need to be able to spend 5-6 hours customizing it and sending it out. So they need all their code to be in the style sheet and in the functions pages and not in the module settings. So I think we're starting to see two different crowds, and how we market that I think is going to make a big difference in who's using it, who's buying it. And so, like I said, we're all in the infancy stages right now, and I think it's going to be it's just going to continue to grow.
Yeah,
So
I agree. That's a good point. I know for me right now, well, I mean, when you kind of look at the marketplaces and everyone's different individual shops, they're just kind of put out there. I haven't really seen anyone, there's no, hey, this is kind of more for developers and stuff, and maybe that will come about. But that's a good point.
yeah, I think it's just kind of I'm just starting to see that with my projects. With I've tried to do a few layout packs, and I've downloaded a few of Elegant Themes layout packs, and I just found that having to go into each module and then each row and each section to modify it for a project, it was taking me a lot longer than just recreating it myself using CSS. And so now I don't know that I'll be able to use those layout packs, but I will look at that layout and recreate it in a few minutes rather than try to go into the settings and download the layout and
Yeah.
adjust the settings
Yeah.
myself. Take me an hour. So as I'm learning that, as I'm seeing that, I'm realizing that, yeah, we do have the potential to split the market into two different areas, and so. But we'll see. It's all evolving, and I by no means am leading the charge. And I think other people have ideas and things going on as well. So it's going to be an exciting year still.
Yeah, I really think that once 3.0 comes out with the front end editor, I think that Divi will become even bigger, especially for agencies, because a lot of the themes that Divi is competing against have front end editors, or that the agencies have developed these frameworks themselves that actually have front end editors inside of them. And so to compete with that as a small business would really help you in promoting your projects as well, because I really see that clients really want that feature. I mean,
Yeah,
it was hard to compete on that level.
Yeah.
yeah. Before Elegant Themes, I like a lot of others. I have used a lot of theme forest things, just ones I would find that I liked, and most of them had visual composer that baked in or something. So yeah, that's true. In fact, Moore is asking, do you think that child themes market will change with Divi 3.0?
Yeah, good question. My take, I think it will change, but I don't know that it's like it's gonna, I think the child theme market's gonna grow regardless of 3.0, but it might change how we build them, if that makes any sense. So I don't think it's going to affect the selling and the market and the growing number of developers building them and selling them, but it may change the way we have to build them. And I don't know, but it's possible that might be the case. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I'm not I'm not good. I don't know, but let's hope for the best.
Yeah, and then Chris had said earlier, I'm stuck designing websites for clients, mostly just small and medium-sized companies, and it's frustrating niche. Yes, that price tag is the best thing about it. Yeah, in fact, I'm putting together personally. I get that all the time, and I've talked about how the child themes help me to give low-cost alternatives. I'm actually finally putting together a page that I can point people to that say I got an email today. I have a $500 budget, and we're doing this festival in Italy, and or somewhere like that, a wine festival, and can you help? And so my response is naturally, if you can work with one of these themes, I can install it for you, set it up, and flow in your content within that budget. And so
Mhm.
so I think that's the benefit of it for us as developers. Let's see, David's comment. I think it will get stronger. Yeah, Craig, depends how much the front end editor actually edits. If you can edit 100th page, then it could make child themes even more useful. Yep, I agree. Nostra Davidius. Let's see, it's 12:15, and I know people got to get back to work or go to bed in some parts of the country. um, I do have one more question, kind of regarding the community at large, and I kind of asked this question towards the end of these sessions. As an admin of Elegant Themes user community Facebook group and a member of several others, what encourages you the most in the groups, and what's the biggest takeaway for you?
Well, I think the group personally has helped me the most, because even though I am part of a bigger company, I am just a designer sitting at home, just like the freelance world. So having other designers and developers inside that community where I can see what they're doing and see their struggles and everything like that has really been helpful. And I've actually got to meet a ton of friends. So I think that's probably the most useful part of the community, and just seeing people grow. It's interesting. I've seen people from a year ago who have just made leaps and bounds in what they're doing, and it's just really fun to watch them grow and see what they're doing.
Yeah. Leslie, did you have any final questions you wanted to ask?
Well, when we were gonna do this, I was like, I really want to know more about Avalon and and how that worked, and like the dynamic of you guys working together, and who else did helped you guys build that child theme, or was it just you two, or?
Yeah, good question. No, of course, Andrea did all the design, pretty much most of it. And then Jerry here is in the group right now. He's been kind of silent over here. He's working on some projects while he's listening. But Jerry's come on board with Monterey Premier this last month, and he put in. He just did phenomenal work along with Mohit. Mohit's not in this session right now, but I've been working with Mohit for several months now as far as helping me truly develop new functions and features that we've never done before, things I've always had in mind, like adding those 50 new customizer features. That was a new thing for me. And Jerry and Mohit probably combined put in about 40 to 50 hours on that, in addition to my putting in about 40 hours on this one. And, we all put in a lot of time, but it's sort of, in my mind, it's sort of a flagship as to the next level of child themes for us, anyways. And so, yeah, it was a full-on team project, and it was great. It was fun. I mean, would you say, Andrea?
No, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was probably, I handed it off to you all, and it probably took about 3 weeks or so, and I was just amazed what you all came up with. I mean, it was just Jerry. I would have to do a shout out to Jerry because, man, one night, I don't know how long he was up, but I was getting emails from him at very late hours, and so it was just, it was really cool to work with everybody, and the commitment that everybody had to see that thing launch was just really awesome.
Yeah, I think he pulled a 23-hour stint on that one. So, yeah, big thanks goes out to Jerry. And, I don't know if many of you know this, but Jerry's also taken over, like, all the comments and questions on Ketos.co blog. And so people are getting answers to all their questions and stuff. He's amazing. And you'll be seeing and hearing more of him over these next couple months. He's just taken over all that for me, and it's great. He finds answers faster than me now. He might be hosting this in a couple weeks. Awesome. Well, Andrea, there we go. I had to say it that way. Anything you'd like to share? Any final comments? Any words of encouragement? Anything like that?
I think my only words of encouragement would just be to participate. You get out what you put in, and I think that I stood by and watched a lot of people participate for the past year just because I didn't think I had much to say. So I think if you just participate, you'll get a lot more out of things inside the groups than you would ever expect.
Yeah. Leslie?
I can't think of anything right now.
Well, right on. Let's see. So, did I miss any questions? I think Pablo asked
So. I think
about what. How do you get content? What was it? What is it up here?
Oh, I think I answered that. It's really specific upon the client. I mean, there's not any general questionnaire.
Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. Awesome. And well, here we are. It's this is me participating. I want to design websites for you. Yeah. All right. Well, it's 12:20. We've gone over the hour mark, but this has been just exciting and informative Q&A, as they all have been. Andrea, I want to thank you very much for joining us and sharing all your company secrets.
Well, thank you all for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And Leslie, thank you so much for helping out and being here.
Thank you for letting me hang out.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see a lot of you in 2 weeks.
I know. I'm scared and nervous and excited and everything like at the same time.
Yeah, me too. I'm super nervous and excited. And for those who don't know, Elegant Themes is taking us out on Friday night to
Woohoo!
the tab's going to be on them. So that's going to be an exciting time, and we hope to share with you guys as much as we can for those who can't make it. So again, thank you everybody for, I can't imagine Leslie excited. Thank you guys, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, chats, for putting this together. I appreciate all the participation and all the Divi love that we have in our community. Hope you guys all have a great weekend. Stay cool.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you.
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 Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you.